More than ever in these days, through all the media by which people can communicate, the voice of atheists are being heard much more frequently than ever before. Those non-believers who do broadcast their messages across the web usually have a common theme. They say that belief in God is bad for humanity. They say that all religion has been and continues to be the cause of division, violence, and oppression in society and the world. Sadly, perhaps they do have a point, because when human beings create God in their own image and fashion their beliefs around that image, then God becomes like human beings with their virtues, but also with their vices, and these writ all the larger and all the more powerful. That is why it is so important that at least once a year we pause, as we do on this day, and contemplate the mystery of God and revisit not the God of human imagination or invention, but the God who has actually revealed himself to us, as we hear even in this particular passage of St. John's Gospel, where Jesus tells us that he is from the Father and that he and the Father are sending the Spirit. That is why we call today Trinity Sunday, because God, who created the world in all its intricate beauty and harmony, is the same God who took flesh in Jesus Christ and saved us by his perfect act of obedience on the cross and his resurrection from the dead, and is the God who remains with us even now after Jesus' ascension as the Holy Spirit, who gathers us and instructs us and sanctifies us still. So God reveals that in essence he is three persons in one God. Certainly, this is not the God of human invention, but infinitely more complex and mysterious than we can even imagine. Transcendent, yet at the same time immanent. Unmoved, but moving through history. Self-revealing, yet not completely understandable. Three in one. A community of distinct yet equal persons, interdependent, harmoniously bound together by a love that gives life, a love which has overflown into creation, a love that has brought about redemption and salvation. God, whose existence we can reasonably discern, but yet whom we cannot quite fully know. Clearly, we do not believe in a God whom the atheists reject, an all-powerful and arbitrary God who gives and takes, who rewards and punishes, who takes sides and divides, who blesses those he favors and curses those he does not. No, we do not believe in that kind of God. Belief in such a God is a huge temptation, truly, for us as human beings. And at times, perhaps, both as individuals and as a church, we have resorted to reducing God to look like us in order to promote or defend our own selfish purposes. But this is not the God who reveals himself to us in his works of creation, redemption, sanctification, and salvation. What we can know of God here and now tells us that while God is all-powerful, the base of that power is love, and the source of that love is a community, a trinity of persons. We who are created in the image and likeness of God then best honor God through imitation. That is, by creating and living in communities, the glue of which is love, and the result of which is life. So let us contemplate this true Trinitarian God and ever examine our own families, our communities, our parishes in the light of God's eternal truth. More importantly, let us examine ourselves and the role that we take in forming and sustaining the communities which we are called to be part of. Are we actively contributing to the building up of those communities, or are we passively doing nearly nothing at all, or worse, by our own self-concern and centeredness, actually undermining them? How ready and willing are we to cooperate with others for the greater good of all? How much is interdependence prized by us over independence? How sacred to us is the fine and delicate art of compromise for the sake of fairness and the maintenance of harmony based on equality? How ready are we to sacrifice what we would want for ourselves in favor of creating and maintaining what is best for all? In light of the truth of the Trinity, such sacrifice is in fact the very basic work of love. And because God is love, then love is how we imitate God and cooperate with one another in carrying out God's very work. So on Trinity Sunday, let us revisit the truth of God as Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and resume the work of conversion in ourselves in light of that divine truth, moving from self-concern to other concern, thinking always more in terms of we than of me. Indeed, of building in our families, our schools, our workplaces, our neighborhoods, and yes, our parishes, communities of equal, where differences are sources of harmony rather than division, communities formed in the image and likeness of the Holy Trinity because they are bound by love, such that they do indeed bring life.